Welcome to week 6. This week we'll explore crisis communication. Now we have a whole other course that you can take about crisis communication, so I'm not going to delve into the details right now. But I would like to offer some advice that I hope you'll find helpful in terms of preparation for a crisis. Now our author offers a nice definition of crisis. Quote, broadly speaking, a crisis is defined as an event or issue that requires decisive and immediate action from an organization. The necessity of immediate action may be triggered by mounting public pressure, intense media attention, or perhaps even direct danger. Maybe you had an accident, product tampering, product fault, and this danger can be to employees, customers, members of the general public. Now, crisis may involve accidents or natural disasters, but they can also stem from actions or failures to act within the organization. And sometimes a crisis may result from a cultural problem, which escalates into a crisis. An example may illustrate how the internal culture of an organization may be a trigger for how a crisis may emerge and potentially escalate. So, as I read the description of this, I'd like to offer a few points. One, I recommend you use this opportunity to reflect on how your organization would define a crisis. And secondly, and more importantly, think about how you are preparing for a crisis. The best time to prepare for a crisis was yesterday. The next best time to prepare for a crisis is today. When I'm training our military leaders, I sometimes avoid the word crisis because it implies a sense of urgency that can confuse people as like unplanned chaos. As a professional communicator, I think we should always be prepared for a crisis or a contingent operation or the need for a contingency. And I sometimes use that term contingency instead of crisis. Although I'll confess, I developed our contingency plan aboard the aircraft carrier I commissioned, and we put it in a binder called Crisis Communication. Inside that binder, it had tabs for every conceivable contingency we could imagine. Think about an aircraft crash. Think about fire on a ship. Think about flooding on a ship. A crew member dies. The ship runs aground. We go to war. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can happen, right? We have to be prepared for that. And you need to be prepared in a way that makes it as simple as possible, because when a crisis strikes, you're going to be moving fast. And you also want to avoid mistakes, right? So if you've already got the press release ready to go, if you've got the points of contact updated, if you've got the response to query approved by the lawyer and the leaders and everybody else who's going to need it, that's not the time to try to figure all that out. You just reach up on the shelf, you grab the binder, you open it up, and you've got it. Whether it's a physical crisis communication plan or more likely, today it's probably a digital one, but just make sure you've done that you've written that you've rehearsed that, and that you update that routinely. That would be my best advice. The idea is that we want to be prepared. And so, as I said, the best time to develop that was yesterday, but certainly if you don't already have one, your organization doesn't have one, and you're responsible for communication, this is a great time to add that to your priority list to get that developed. Now, I will say this. Looking back on my career, the crises are the things that I remember the most. They make the most indelible memories. I know it doesn't seem like it at the time because you're under a lot of stress and pressure and not getting a lot of sleep. But dealing with those crises, they offer the best lessons and opportunities for growth. That crucible of fire that you go through, really does make you stronger. It's why my most vivid memories of my time on active duty as a public affairs professional were the days, nights, weekends working through the crisis of, a submarine collision, a P-3 aircrew held captive in China, allegations of detainee abuse at Guantanamo Bay, just to name a few. And again, when you're going through it, it is not fun. It's painful, regardless of how prepared you think you are. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but having survived it, I know that my efforts help make a difference in a positive way, often about a very negative situation. And certainly I'm a better public affairs professional based upon those experiences. I'm sure those of you who have dealt with similar crises probably feel the same way, that it's those crises that kind of sift out those who have the capability to do it right, and more importantly, to learn when you do it wrong so that you can do better next time. All right, as always, stay ahead with all assignments, stay engaged in that discussion board, and most importantly, enjoy your time of learning.